So the first card you have your past is the Nine of Swords. Yeah, this is obviously a horrible card. It's not quite as bad as it looks. I don't think there's a lot of tiredness here. I think you're trying to keep on top of a lot of things, work, other things. And I think with you, with Pisces, I think when you're drowning in the kind of day-to-day work and the grind and everything else you do, if it's not feeding you creatively, because you need to be fed creatively, you need to do something creative, you need to do something interesting, something that's kind of outside of the normal day-to-day. If you're not doing that every day, you start to feel a little bit lost, a little bit trapped. And that's how you were, I think, because if you look at this woman, she looks as if she's trapped. She's got these swords and they look a bit like a cage. And I think that's how you start to feel if you're not creative, because you like to just let things flow. You like to just go with the flow and do things and explore things. You don't like to be locked into things. And I think that's how you felt at this time. I think you used to do something very creative a lot more often. I don't think you can do that now. You couldn't at this time, because I think you're in one situation where you could do that at one time of your life, and you just felt a lot more of yourself, or being that you could be yourself at that time. And I think now, well, in some ways, but maybe not in other ways. I'm seeing this time in your past, so it was good creatively, but maybe not in other ways. But yeah, I think now, out of necessity, probably, you have to do other kinds of work. You need to, you've got responsibilities, you have to pay things, obviously. So you're just not doing that creative thing. That's what I'm seeing, or you weren't at this time. So, if this is you, I'd love to tell you you'd be able to get out of this tomorrow. But yeah, obviously, again, you have responsibilities. So it's not realistic to just kind of throw this all up in the air and run away, even if you'd like to do that. But yeah, I think there are some areas where you could probably lessen this work, or make it a bit less, work a bit less, lessen that, or something, I should say. So you'd still be earning a decent amount and not have to do as much. There's some way around this, I think. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm getting. And you might not have found what that is yet, how to do that, I should say. So if you can do that, then you might be able to build up, or spend that time on building up your creative side again. So yeah, I'm also seeing something that probably happened a year ago, actually, or over a year. And maybe that's why you had to make this change into doing this other work that's not as satisfying to you. Yeah, what happened changed your life. It changed everything. Yeah, okay, so what I'm seeing here is this is kind of relating to that change in your life. I'm seeing a person from that time who's come into your life recently. So there's a person from your past who's come into your life at this time, not physically. I'm just getting this kind of, someone was sending a message to someone else, and you heard this message, and it felt like it was undermining you. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know if that's going to make sense or not, but this is what I'm seeing. And it was like someone was judging you from a distance. That's how you felt. It came through another person. And so if that resonates with you, if you heard this thing and you felt like, oh, they used to do this years ago, they're undermining me again, they're judging me, they're saying I can't do this, or they're looking at me like, oh, you can't do, not looking, but they were saying, oh, what you're doing is not good enough, all of that kind of thing. If that resonates with you, definitely ignore this, because I think the source of this is, yeah, it's this person from your past, probably an ex. And yeah, it just feels like, they wanted to tell you what to do. It feels like they used to tell you what to do, or they tried to tell you what to do and all that kind of thing. And now that you're up there, they can't do that. So they're trying to kind of do these little things from a distance. So totally ignore this. You've moved on from that now. And, they have no say in what you do. Absolutely none. None. So just completely ignore that if that's there. I know it doesn't feel good, but try to just get it completely out of your head. It has no reason to be in there. That's what I'm seeing. All right, so the next card you have, you pass the Sun. Yeah, here's this person here again. So here's this ex here, and they're trying to undermine you. And I think this card might be about the time when you got away from them, because you separated and you're very, very free, like this child on this horse. It was like, I'm finally free. I feel so much better. And this was a big turning point for you when you got away from this person. So yeah, I think when you, yeah, so this is what I'm seeing. So you kind of separated, you left this person, and you were free in all, just about every area of your life. There were some other areas in your life where you might have felt the opposite of that in some ways. One of them might have been financial, which is why you had to take up this job that isn't so satisfying. So it might be that. The other thing is, I'm seeing some people that you had around you, and they surprised you, actually. I think you were surprised at how some of these people started treating you. It feels like you were treated like a child, actually, the child on this card. So I'm just getting this feeling of, it feels like a bombardment of people telling you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So it's like you had this breakup, might have been a divorce, some kind of separation from someone, and then people were saying, oh, do this, do that, no. And I think you probably just ended up getting away from a lot of them because it was just too much, because it feels like a bombardment. And I think a lot of this advice that you were given, it just wasn't helpful either to you or to anyone. It was just really, really silly advice. Some of it was even aggressive. That's what I'm getting. There was some aggressive advice. Oh, go and do this to them, go and, whatever. I don't know, something terrible. So yeah, it just wasn't good advice. A lot of it was just bad advice. Some of it was okay. I'm not saying all of it, but there was a lot of really bad advice in there. And I'm just seeing you looking back at this time, and, maybe you were thinking something like, wow, if I'd taken that advice then, where would I be now? You'd be in a much worse place than you are now. So, yeah, most of this, I think, is all calmed down by now, I think, and you probably have a much smaller group of friends now. I can see why. Yeah, and you're just way, way better off now. And I think, that feeling of freedom, it's just worth everything to you. Everything else that's happened is just put into perspective when you know that you have this freedom. So that's what I'm seeing in that card. Very, very beautiful card. All right, so the last card you have, you pass the Fool. Beautiful freedom. Again, another beautiful freedom card. So I think you have these two freedom cards. I think they might be here to remind you that if you're feeling trapped, if you're going through this work stress, if you can't see the end of it right now, just know that generally you're a lot freer than you were before you got away. So it's like, I don't want to sound like this annoying person saying, oh, be grateful for what you have. When you're really down, it's a horrible thing to hear, but that is what I'm seeing there. Be grateful for what you have. So I'm saying that. And this is showing me that, yeah, even though you had all these advisors around you, you had people on one side telling you to do this, people on the other side telling you to do that. And I think you felt a bit like, I'm supposed to be free now, but I don't feel like that at all, because I'm still being told what to do. Because you had this other person you separated from telling you what to do. You left them, and now you had all these other people telling you what to do. But then I think what happened was you decided to just be like this fool, and you just said, no, I'm going my own way. I'm going my own way. And I think you also did a few sort of unconventional things at that time as well, certainly as far as these people saw. So, and I think often when there's a breakup, especially a serious one, I think people expect you to behave in certain ways and do certain things and feel certain ways. And you don't necessarily feel or think or do all those things. And I don't think you did a lot of those things. I think you did some things in a very, very different way. Very, very different from what a lot of people were expecting. They might have even said things like, oh, you're not following my advice. You should be doing this and that. And no, you weren't. You were the fool. You were following yourself. You were following your own advice. That's how you are. And yeah, the way that you went about this was absolutely the best way for you. Not for them, but for you. This is your life. Yeah, and I think you just came out of this in a way, way better position because you listened to yourself and you knew instinctively what you were doing. It was instinctual for you. And you have these really, really strong instincts. And I think a lot of the time you can even see how things are going to play out before they do. I think sometimes you even know what some people are going to say or how they're going to behave. So yeah, very, very strong instincts, very intuitive. Yeah, I'm getting that really, really strongly. So always follow that and you'll be right. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, so the first card you have your presence, the King of Cups. Okay, I think this might be about how someone sees you, actually, because I'm seeing a love connection. This is a newer one, obviously. So I don't think you're hiding things from them, but I think you're just not an open book, let's say. I think you might just be a naturally private person, and I think you like, you don't mind having conversations, but I think you also really value your alone time. That's what I'm getting. And it's more than just valuing it. It's like, it feels like you need that time. You need that time alone. Because, it feels like I'm just getting this, I can't breathe, I need to get away. And I think that's how you feel when you're constantly surrounded by people, especially if you don't get this time to yourself. And this king's absolutely by himself. So I think maybe this person you're with, yeah, they might be struggling with that. They might be struggling with the fact that you need this time alone. I don't think they've said anything outright. I am seeing a few hints here, so they might have hinted, they might have said things like, oh, so when I was out and you were home or whatever, or, you were away from me, what were you doing in that time? Did you talk to anyone? So they might have been kind of fishing to see if you're talking to anyone else. So yeah, I think it might be they're a bit worried that maybe you don't want to spend time with them, or maybe even that you're looking around at other people. I don't know. There's this worry around this, that they're going to lose you or something. So, just talk to them, just explain that you need this time. And if you've already done that, if you've tried to explain this to them before and they still don't understand, it is going to be a problem, because being able to have time alone, again, it's something you need. It's not something you can just do without. So if this is a problem, it's going to have to be addressed. It is. So, okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so the next card you have your presence, the Seven of Wands. Okay, so yeah, there's still a lot of work stress here I'm seeing, and life stress and all the other things. There's a bit of frustration around this as well. It's not a big thing, just a little thing I'm seeing here. But I think this is just another example of someone who advises you, but they're not really listening to you. They're not really understanding you. So yeah, this is someone you talk to probably on the phone. I don't think they're around you physically. Maybe that's just for practical reasons. I don't know. And I think you try to talk to them about things, your frustrations, your workload, everything else. You do love them. You absolutely love this person. You care about them. You appreciate them. But, they just don't understand your situation properly. They just don't understand what you're going through properly. And I think they probably... they offer you suggestions, but I don't think they help you at all, really. They try, so you're not mad at them, you're not angry or whatever, you still talk to them, you love them. But it is a little bit frustrating, that's what I'm getting. So yeah, I think also with all this work stress, it really does feel like a trap. I'm really feeling this trap. So, see if you can take a bit of time out, even if it's just a day or an afternoon or something, and just sit quietly by yourself if you can, and you love doing that. So, just start planning, just start thinking about ways that you can minimize the work that you're doing now. And when you've done that, get that rest fast in that time, and then you can start thinking about increasing, the creativity in your life. And I think, just like having time to yourself, it's the same thing, working on creative things. It feels like breathing to you. Creativity serves a really, really big purpose in your life. So it's something you need. So if this is something you need, please try to make time for this. The other thing is, okay, this is a little bit strange. And I made a promise to myself that if I saw any strange things come up, I was going to say so. Okay. And I've got a really, really lovely, lovely person on my Patreon that just said that to me, actually, who sent me a message saying, oh, you need to, if you're saying all these little things, you know, you need to say more of them because it's really helped. So that just, okay, so yeah, I'm seeing this thing, here I am. Okay, so there's some kind of document. This is what I'm seeing. It's or something. It's, I don't know if it's a passport. It's some kind of, it might be a license. It's an official document. So whatever this is, I think it needs to be renewed. There's something that's coming up where I think you'll need this document with you to do this thing. So if it's a passport, if you're traveling, you might have forgotten to renew it. If it's some other kind of license, you're going to need to do something. So check dates on things, make sure all of that's up to date. Okay, I'm seeing something in a wardrobe, actually. I don't know if that's kept in a wardrobe. I don't know if that relates to this at all. Yeah, something's been put away somewhere. I think it's this thing. So yeah, anyway, I won't worry about that. So just go check the dates if you think this is about you. Okay, so the last card you have your presents, the 5 of Wands. Yeah, okay, so you've got two big battle cards here, the 7 of Wands and now this one. So, okay, so, and what I'm seeing all through this reading, it's everywhere, is that a lot of people like to tell you what to do, or they try to, and you operate at your best when you're by yourself, when you're making your own decisions. That's really clear everywhere here. And you're a really unique thinker as well. You never just go with what the crowd's doing. You know, I think even as a child, you've always asked why? Why? Why this? Why that? Why does that do that? Why does this say that? Why does that there? Why is it, you know, all of that kind of thing. So you've always been like this. And I think always keep that. Always question why. Never just go along with things. And you don't. This is what I'm saying. You don't just go along with things. Because if you look at this card, this is what this is showing me. Everyone in this card's following the crowd. It's like a big crowd. And to me, it looks a little bit like a childish fight where, you know, maybe there was some topic or something started this fight, but by the end, no one can remember what the point of the fight was. They're all just fighting. So, and I think you find a lot of these kind of follow the crowd things, social norms, things that people just do. People say, this is the right thing to do. This is the etiquette. You put this on this side, you wear the flower on the left-hand side. I don't know, whatever it is, some silly thing. You have to wear a hat to a wedding. It's just, someone just made, anyway. So, yeah, okay, so this is just a silly example of one of these silly rules. It's like, okay, it's this time in the morning, say 7 o'clock. I have to have breakfast at this time because that's breakfast time. And then, you know, it's 12 o'clock, so that's lunchtime or whatever. It's not lunchtime, it's just, if you're hungry, you eat. Anyway, that's just a silly example, but there are millions of these kind of silly things around. People just do them without thinking. And, you know, no one has to do any of these things or whatever. But yeah, you don't just follow these things. You know, you question everything and you just follow what suits you. And you also like spending time alone. Not all the time, but I think sometimes you just want to spend time alone, and you need that, you crave that, you need that time alone. And I think sometimes when you're around people, it's not that you hate, I don't want to say, oh, you hate people. No, you don't. Okay, you like some people, but sometimes when you're in a lot of people, like a crowd, like say if you're sitting there and a lot of people are talking around you, and you know they're all talking, and you just think to yourself, well, why? Why do they say that? Why are they worried about that? Why do they think that? Why does this matter? You know, that's just what I'm getting. So I think you can't relate to all these kinds of things that all these people say. And so I think the people that you choose to have around you, it's a small group, obviously, but you're happy with that. You know, you're fine with that. And I think when you're in these big groups, like the one on this card, you know, it's not only that you kind of think, well, what are they talking about? It's draining to you as well. So I think maybe part of what this problem with this job is that's really kind of getting you down in the 9 of Swords might be that you have a lot of people in your work, or you might be in an open plan office, so you have a lot of people around you, and maybe people you just don't get, you wouldn't choose to be around them, and maybe you struggle to get your work done because you have these kind of things around. So You know, if that's the case, you really do try to need to try to limit this interaction. You might even have to try to gradually move away from that in some way. I'm not saying being a hermit. I'm not saying never talk to anyone. What I am saying is everyone has their own personal level of comfort and, you know, tolerance around different social situations, and there's nothing wrong with recognizing where you are and what you work best with, and working around that so that you're at your best, especially in the workplace, because it's not just for you, it's for the people you work for. You need to be at your best, and if you're feeling drained all the time, you can't be at your best. So that's what I'm getting there. So yeah, you might have to try to find a place where you're by yourself working, or out of the way of people or something, if you can. I don't know. Okay, so the first card you have your future is the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, work again. So this is a workhorse, so that's why this is coming up. Big workhorse. Yeah, you are committed. You're committed to your work. And you do want to give it your best. You do want to do your best at work. And I don't think you dislike what you're doing. I think you just find a lot of these people to be just draining, really. And, you know, I keep on getting this thing that, you know, you'd get much more work done if you had more time to yourself. Maybe you have people yapping around you. I couldn't bear that. So, yeah, I don't know whether you'd be able to work from home. I'm sure you've thought about that if this is all a problem for you, but that's another idea anyway. You might want to try asking if you can do that, if that's something you can do. Okay, so the other thing is, yeah, there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of love here. There's a lot of admiration here as well. I think there's a really big lack of communication here, though. So there's a lot of love, feelings of love, but not very good communication. I think someone loves you. I think they really adore you. Yeah, they want a future with you. This is stability. They want a solid future with you. And I think they might be worried, actually, that you might not want the same, or they're worried how you feel about them, that kind of thing. So I think this is probably the same person that I'm seeing in the King of Cups. So there's a lot of mirroring here as well, because I think you need your alone time, and they might see that and they might think, oh, that might be that they don't want to be around me, and that might be they don't want to talk to me. And so if they're doing that, I'll distance myself as well. So they're mirroring. And so, you know, maybe instead of just coming out and telling you in an open way, they're sort of just reflecting what you're doing. And, you know, it's very frustrating to me to see that when people do that, because they really should just come out and say, hey, what's going on? Why are you spending time away from me? Is it this? Is it that? Just tell me what's happening. And then you'd say to them, well, I just need that alone time. It's not you. I just really need that. I need that to get my energy back. And then say, oh, okay. See, that's simple, but that's not what's happening. So, yeah, sorry, it sounds like I'm laughing. I'm not doing that. So, yeah, I think one of you is going to have to break the ice and talk about this, because look at how much they love you. Look at how much this knight adores this coin. They absolutely love you. They absolutely do. So, you know, okay, so looking at the situation as it is right now, I actually don't think they're going to come forward. They're not going to say anything. And I think maybe that's why this card's here. I think it's here to kind of give you this message that maybe you should be the one who talks to them. So if this is all making sense to you, see if you can talk to them, because there is a lot of love here. And there's a lot of stability here as well, potential stability, if you can work this out. Okay, so the next card you have, your future's Temperance. Yeah, you're both going to have to come together. You're both going to have to work together, blend together. You're very different people, I think, very different, but you work really well together. It's just that, you know, firstly, you just need to come together and communicate. That's the first thing. And also, I think they're just going to have to recognise that, and probably you as well, that you're just both so different. You act in different ways. You communicate in different ways. There's just so much love here, though. I'm definitely feeling a lot of love coming from them. I keep on seeing that. There's also a lot of passion here with these beautiful red wings on this angel. I'm also seeing some healing here. So it might be that maybe their lack of communication might come from an old situation they were in, because I'm seeing a lot of anger here, a lot of anger in their background, so maybe even violence. They weren't violent, I'm not seeing that, but I think there was something like that around them, maybe when they were growing up even. So, because sometimes a fear of confrontation can come from things like that, so it might be that. So just have a think about that as well. Okay, so the last card you have, your future staff. Okay, I think this card might actually be a reminder, because I was getting this feeling of being undermined through words, messages that you're getting. That's what I was seeing in the Nine of Swords. And I'm getting that here as well. It's this feeling of, hearing these messages, and then being taken back to that time when you were kind of around this ex, and when you didn't have the freedom that you have now, and you didn't have the autonomy that you have now. So I think what this is, it's a reminder of the fact that even though your mind's being sent back there, or even if it is, or if your emotions are being sent back to that time and you're getting all those horrible feelings again, it's a reminder that you felt that then, and you don't have to ever feel that again. That's what I think. You won't ever have to go back there ever again. I think that's what that's a reminder of. And, I'm not talking about never going back to them again, because I think you already know that. You're never going back to them. This is about never having to go back to that feeling, never having to go back to that place where you're second guessed, undermined. You won't have to go through that ever again. So it's a good feeling to know that. So that's a way to turn that bad feeling, because it's just a memory, into a good feeling, because this is what you're like now. That's what happened then. This is what's happening now. And yeah, these are here to remind us that, we don't want to repeat it again, and all of that. So yeah, so try not to stress over these feelings and these memories if you're having them. They're there for a reason, and they're there to tell you that you're not going back. You're never going back. And also there to tell you that you're not going to get together with anyone who's like that ever again. Because whenever you do, if ever you come across someone like that, that's when this reminder is going to come up. And I think it's going to feel awful. Yes, it is. But it's there for a good reason. It's there so you don't get yourself into anything like that ever again.